My name is Kevin Rutherford. I'm here to talk about life through my life. Welcome to the Accelerate Through Life podcast. Let's go. Hey guys, wanted to hop on here really quick. Today's episode is about being thankful even when nobody else is, even when nobody around you is being grateful. You know, recently I saw a meme that showed, a guy that looked like the boss out golfing, and the look that you're giving him, knowing he's earning 3 times, 15 times, whatever, insert number there, more than what you are, while you're the one doing the work and he's out enjoying life at that moment. And I can't help but think about my experiences that I've had with that. I myself have despised bosses, okay? And, I'll use an example directly of a great friend of mine nowadays, Mike Starr, that owned Team Texas High Performance Driving School. This was my first job right out of high school. And, he was one of those guys that was always in the trenches with you. He was one of those bosses. He was never, he didn't really golf or do anything of that nature. He worked. That's what that man loved to do. And I just remember while we would be out at these events or working on the cars, as I started there when I was 17 years old, right? So I was doing all the grunt work for the 3.5 years that I worked there, full time anyway. And I just remember despising him. And I despised him because it seemed like other people despised him. Right? B, I despised him because he was the one in control of me. He was the one telling me what to do. Most people don't like that, right? And then I think the third thing is you can't help but think, look at how much money you're making versus what I'm getting paid, right? And so all of these things are normal, and yet I want to remind you that this is your life and that you are in control of it. And that you get to decide what the future is going to look like. So before I get too far down that rabbit hole, I want to back up, though, and just say, what if we changed the perspective around bosses and became thankful for them? What if we became grateful that they decided to create a life so big for themselves that we were able to fulfill the dream of whatever aspect of life, period of life we were in at that time? We were able to fulfill our dreams within their big dream because they worked so hard. See, the truth is you have no idea what the sacrifices that they have made to get to where they're at in life, right? You have no idea the cost that has been paid. And I feel confident within saying this now in my own entrepreneurial journey. And I'll tie it back to a story, again, in my own life, is that back about, a little over 3 years ago now, I made the decision to officially quit American Airlines. I had already been away for around a year due to COVID, right? They had layoffs and voluntary leaves and things of that nature. And when they called me back into work, I worked one shift for the holidays, and it hit me. God spoke to me that this was not the calling on my life. Now, absolutely no disrespect or anything wrong with the people that out there that it is the calling for their life. They were some of the happiest, nicest people I had ever met in my life. But where I'm going with the story is that, it was extremely hard to get to the point of the decision of making the decision. Okay, I'm going to leave this potentially guaranteed income and I'm going to go start chasing a commission-based dream, to create a real estate business. And I'll never forget, my mom's probably going to listen to this episode, and I'm going to tie this directly to her. I'm pretty sure she was crying. She's a crier, right? But she has a soft heart, and obviously she loves her kids more than anything in the world. And so when I told her I was stepping away from American Airlines, I remember her just breaking down. I remember her begging me not to do it. And the reason why that she was begging me not to do it wasn't because she didn't believe in me. It wasn't because, that she wanted me to necessarily stay at American Airlines, right? She knew how hard the journey of entrepreneurship is. She has been there. She has been doing it for over 30 years now with Rutherford Services Incorporated, formerly known as Rutherford Painting and Remodeling. Her and my dad have worked together for over 30 years in building this business into what it is today, and it has cost them everything, right? They put their blood, sweat, and tears into it, and at the same time, it's allowed them to provide for their family at the level that they probably never dreamed achievable, honestly. And, especially when they started out. So she knew how hard it was. And she said, son, I just don't want you to have to go through what we've been through. Right. It's been the hardest things I've ever done. And I would rather you have a guaranteed paycheck. I would rather you be able to punch out, clock out, and leave it all there. Fast forward. My mom's input on my decisions has always been huge. Honestly, I don't feel like she always gave me that much input. There was times where she kind of stayed back and let me learn my own lessons. So when she does give me input, I really cling to it. So she came to me a few weeks later. I proceeded, right? I was already committed. There was no changing my mind. Mom, I appreciate your input, but this is what I have to do. I feel called to do this, to move on to the next chapter in my life. And a few weeks later came, and I actually think it was around the time that I was officially turning in my badge to the airport and things of that nature. And she sat me down and she said, hey, I just want to talk to you really quick. I know I was, kind of emotional, maybe even a little bit discouraging towards you chasing your dreams. And she said, now that I've had a few weeks to think about it, I'm totally on board with you going on to this next chapter, with you leaving a guaranteed paycheck. She said, because this is the way you were raised. You really don't know any better. She said, and this is what we have trained you to become, right? This is all you've seen through me and your father, so why would you want to be any different? And so I often think about that, especially on the hard days, on the days where I don't want to show up, on the days that I don't want to do the things that I am supposed to be doing to continue to lead the Rutherford team and to continue to grow. So, as you think about, man, my boss may be earning more money than what I'm making, I want you to focus on two things. One is that your business grows to the extent that you do. Your life grows to the extent that you do. So if you want to earn more, whether that be in a company or starting your own company, then you got to continue to develop yourself, right? Your income is never going to surpass your personal development, right? Very, very rarely do you see somebody that has an income up here, but a personal development level down here. They're usually tied together. They're going to go up and down together. So intend on making the decisions that are going to serve you and your family best. Be grateful for the boss that you have, for the opportunities that you have. And I've been fortunate. I bring up these stories about Mike Starr, about my mother. I worked for my parents' construction company for a time. So at that time, her and my dad were my boss. I have had incredible bosses. I have incredible leadership, people that taught me life skills that are still with me today. And that's why, even though during those times I didn't always get along with those people, I didn't always see eye to eye with them, I have an incredible relationship with them now. And I'm so grateful for every lesson that they taught me along the way. So, hey, be grateful for the bosses that you have. Be grateful for the opportunities that you've been blessed with. Perspective is absolutely everything. And if you're not, I'll leave you with this. If you're not, truly, maybe you are working for a bad manager, a bad boss, whatever that scenario looks like, start to put together a plan to make it better. Right? Whether that means you switch positions, you switch companies, whatever it takes for you to be happy in life. All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Accelerate Through Life podcast. Please rate and review the show wherever you get your podcast. See you next time.